Hey everyone, how you doing today? My name is Edwin, I'm the Pretty Green Vinyl Guy, and today I thought I'd do a video on the Tome Poet series that I've acquired. Tome Poet are releases under the Blue Note label that are jazz, of course. These are mostly albums that were kind of forgotten. Many of them were, just filed away for 20, 30 years and never saw the light of day. And they're a beautiful series that Blue Note has been doing. The packaging is unbelievable. And yeah, let's go through some of them. So we're going to start with Lee Morgan. This is The Cooker. And this is, you can just see beautifully packaged with these beautiful innards with the old black and white photos of the guys in the studio. Many of these albums are recorded live in the studio. These musicians were just unbelievable in that they could just throw down a take and have this beautiful sound. This was recorded in December 29th, 1957. And this album features, along with Lee Morgan, who was a trumpet player, Pepper Davis played the baritone sax, Bobby Timmons played piano, Paul Chambers played bass, and Philly Joe Jones played the drums. They do a version of A Night in Tunisia, which is a classic jazz standard. This, like most of these albums, I think all of them, were recorded by Rudy Van Gelder, who was one of the two fellows that owned the Blue Note label, I believe. I'm not a jazz encyclopedia, so if I mess some of this up. They all come with great essays on the back, letting you know the history. And unfortunately, it's a sad story for most of these musicians. Most of them died way too young. And we only got, a certain amount of music from them. These are mastered by a guy called Kevin Gray. So they've been, I guess remastered would be the word. And they have a beautiful, clean audiophile sound. And they're just marvelous. So the first one I have is Lee Morgan. There's two Lee Morgans. This was the other one. This is Cornbread. This one was recorded in 1965, so a little bit later. Also with the great photo essays in the middle. And this one featured Lee Morgan, of course, on trumpet, Jackie McLean on alto sax, Hank Mobley on tenor sax, Herbie Hancock on piano, Larry Ridley on bass, and Billy Higgins on drums. This is a very easy album to listen to. If you're new to jazz like me, and you've sort of gotten beyond, Take Five, Kind of Blue, the early essentials, this is a very easy album to digest, and I highly recommend it. These are in no particular order. This is Dr. Lonnie Smith, who I'd never heard of before. He is a keyboard player, an organ player. This also features a guy called Jonathan Kreisberg on guitar, Jonathan Blake on drums, and Joe Dyson is also the drummer on some other tracks. I knew nothing about this album, but I saw it in the record store and I started Googling it, and he does a killer version of Paul Simon's 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover. And I know that Lonnie Smith features on many other of these albums as a session player. Now this guy needs no introduction. This is Herbie Hancock. This is The Prisoner. Now this is a rare one. It's not a gatefold, but it still has the essay on the back. I I think there's a political reason for the release of this album. With the Black Lives Matter movement, I think it's seen as an important album, being called "The Prisoner" by Herbie Hancock. Herbie Hancock is still a very prolific member of different movements, and I think this has the reason why it was released. This album is from 1969, so even that date would tell you how he was feeling at the time. This is Lou Donaldson, Mr. Shing-a-Ling. Again, a very easy acquired listening taste to this album. Really, really good, really easy to get into. There you go, Lonnie Smith on the organ. This also features Blue Mitchell on the trumpet, Jimmy Fats Ponder on guitar, and Leo Morris on the drums, and of course Lou himself on the alto sax. I loved his album covers. Let's see if we can get that to focus a little bit. Also not a gatefold, unfortunately. Now this is this next one is the one that when you read the list of people's so far their favorite or the most important release or one that people have really enjoyed and the sound is outstanding, it has to be Etc. By Wayne Shorter. This was 1965, again with the really cool inner sleeve. This one features Wayne Shorter, who was a tenor sax player, again Herbie Hancock, Joe Chambers on the drums, and Cecil McBee on bass. Really enjoy this album a lot. Really, really good. Now this has always been one of my favorites, being sort of a lightweight in the jazz, dipping my toes into jazz. Everyone loves Chet Baker. This is Chet Baker Sings. This was recorded, it's 1956. Again with the beautiful inner there. It's quite a famous photo of Chet that I've seen many times. One singing and one playing trumpet. It's just beautiful, laying back with a glass of wine or eating dinner type of music. Great stuff. Love Chet Baker. But again, a tragic life, but great. This is Clubhouse, Dexter Gordon. This is from 1979, so this is not an early, even though the photos are still in black and white. This features Freddie Hubbard on trumpet, Barry Harris on piano, Bobby Cranshaw on bass, and Billy Higgins on drums. And you start to hear those names over and over again, especially those drum and bass players. Played on a lot of albums. Incredible. This is Babyface Willette, Face to Face. Now I think Babyface only did 2 albums before he passed, and he was kind of came out a punching kind of organ player that was just a little down and dirty, as I've heard before. This one featured Freddie Jackson on tenor sax, Grant Green, who's an amazing blues guitarist, or jazz guitarist, and Ben Dixon on drums. Again, this was from 1961. Fantastic. And just the covers, the gloss, and just beautifully done. Now He Sings, Now He Sobs, Chick Corea. This is another one that gets a lot of praise as must-haves for the tone poet, with the essay in the middle. a lot of just stripped down piano. This has Chick Corea on piano, Mozilla Votus on acoustic bass, and Roy Haynes on drums. So a very small band, no horns here, very much piano driven. Good stuff. This is Hustlin', Stanley Turrentine with Shirley Scott, who was his wife at the time. She was another organ player. And this is a really good album as well. Great photos here. There's one of the couple. And Stanley by himself. Also with Kenny Burrell this time on guitar, who's another great jazz guitarist. Bob Cranshaw on bass. And this time Otis Finch on the drums. And this is a good album. It's got a nice pacing. You get a real sizzling, and then they bring it down a bit, and then off it goes again, and then it comes down again. It's the layout of the tracks is very well done. So we talked a little bit about Grant Green already, playing on some of these other albums. This is Nigeria. And again, just the quality and the care that went into making these with the essay. Yeah, I mean, if you want just amazing guitar work, this is one of the go-to guys for you. This is, like I said, Grant Green. This one features another solid name in the jazz world, Art Blakey on drums, Sonny Clark on piano, and Sam Jones on bass. And this is great stuff. And then the other one we've talked about on guitar, this is Kenny Burrell. This is Introducing. This is from 1956. Again with the essay. This features Tommy Flanagan on the piano, Paul Chambers again on the bass, Kenny Clark on the drums, and a guy called Ken Dito on the conga drum. So you can tell what type of sound this has, a little bit of Latin going on. Really fun album. And cool. And then last but not least, one of my favorites that I really got into is Donald Byrd Chant. Donald Byrd, of course, is a trumpet player. This one features Pepper Adams on the sax, Herbie Hancock again on piano, Doug Watkins on the bass, and Teddy Robinson on the drums. Now I know there's another Blue Note series that's just come out, which is also being remastered by Kevin Gray, and the packaging is not as elaborate, but there's some great titles on that, and I'm gonna, I think I've exhausted the Tone Poet for now, so I'll probably go into a couple of those labels. But yeah, if you're like me, a novice to jazz, you sort of know a few things, but you're still dipping your toes into the full ocean of the genre. These are great. They sound amazing. They're worth the price, quite honestly, especially with the packaging. The sound is stellar. You can just hear every single little thing. It blows my mind that they just recorded these live in one take, and they just sound so damn good. So, do yourself a favor. You don't have to go crazy like me, but I mean, one or two, and most of them are on YouTube, so you can sample before you buy to see what you like. And yeah, there you go. Tone Poet, Blue Note. Check it out.